Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say. Mother, mother, can you keep them in the dark for life? Can you hide them from a waiting world? Oh, mother, father, gonna take your daughter out tonight. Gonna show her my world. Oh, mother, not about to see your light. And if you want to,
it's privileged white male radio.
I can show you what it's like.
Welcome to the podcast. All the politicians on Capitol Hill are losing their minds. Of course, I'm talking about the big sit-in by the Democrats. All right, let's just get right to it. I'm a firefighter. And in order for me to become a firefighter, I had to learn a few things. Because some of the decisions I make might endanger my life, the life of my fellow firefighters, or members of the public. So I had to learn a few things. I had to learn about the equipment I have to use, how to use it properly, how to identify it. I had to learn how to identify certain situations. I had to learn how to read smoke, so I knew whether or not it was safe to enter. I had to learn a lot of shit. I'm pretty sure in your job, whatever that job might be, doesn't matter, from the most menial fast food worker job to, I don't know, being a congressman or a congresswoman in the United States government. You've got to learn some shit. You've got to know some things. If you don't know these things, if you don't know your job, you can't perform your job correctly. Much like me driving truck here. I had to learn a lot of shit in order to do it properly and safely. And it sure doesn't sound to me like there's a lot of people in Congress that have learned a lot, especially when it comes to this gun control issue, or gun issue, I should say. Now, we can sit and debate night and day guns. I don't know where this all ends. I think we can all agree that something needs to be done. As I've said before, I think it's pretty simple. You're on the no-fly list, you're on the terror watch list, you can't buy a gun. That's all the legislation we need for right now to get something done. But of course, that's not what's being debated. Instead, we're seeing what's playing out in Congress right now, in the House, the exact same thing that plays out across America, amongst people, amongst average citizens. So it should be no surprise that it's in such a state of shit that it's in. But when I hear some of these supposed leaders talk about guns, it's obvious to me they really don't have a clue. And it's not hard to understand why, because when you are in an environment like Washington, D.C., and you're a career politician, you have probably very limited exposure to guns. And that's why I think before any member of Congress votes on any gun control bill, they should have to learn a few things, maybe pass a test. Because when I hear politicians at this sit-in talking about criminals getting machine guns and weapons of war, it makes me angry because it tells me that there are a lot of people there that really don't understand firearms at all. They couldn't look at one and identify what it is. And I'm not talking, this is a Browning 772. No, I'm not talking about the serial numbers and the this has got I know which one that's got an extended mag. No, I'm just talking about just a basic understanding of this is an assault rifle. This is a machine gun. This is a weapon of war. It's always frustrated me that if you take a gun and make it black and put a fancy plastic stock on it, it becomes something different than what it was before. You know how many guns, how many common deer rifles? Do a Google search if you don't believe me. You know how many common deer rifles that have been used by your father, your grandfather, God knows how many people? Very popular hunting rifles. Very rifles that a lot of these politicians say, we don't want to take guns out of the hands of hunters. No. Those very same guns can be made to look like an assault rifle. They can be made into an assault rifle. Do politicians know the definition of assault rifle? No. When they hear the word assault rifle, they think, oh, it's like the Navy SEALs use. Not even close. If I take a popular Remington hunting rifle, put a grip on the front, an extended magazine, a banana clip on the bottom, it's now an assault rifle. Does it shoot any further? Does it shoot any faster? Can it kill more people? Well, we might be able to argue about the size of the clip. Maybe. You ever seen two clips taped together? You ever seen two 10-round clips taped together? Not much different than a 20-round clip. You pop it out, flip it around, stick it back in, keep right on rocking. All guns purchased at gun dealers are, well, I shouldn't say all. Some are single shot, old school, lever action. Pull the trigger once, and you have to cock the gun again to shoot it. There are those, but for the most part, guns bought by average American citizens are semi-automatic. You cannot buy you cannot buy a machine gun. You cannot buy a weapon of war. But yet it seems there are a lot in Congress that don't quite understand that. So maybe it's time to have some education. Maybe they all need to sit down in the chamber there and watch a video explaining firearms, so they really know and have the knowledge before they go vote. Because I think a lot of these people think they're voting against something that they're not. Now there's an endless parade of people once again on the news who've been victims of gun violence, lost a loved one to some type of gun violence. And they're weighing in again. And while, of course, these people should have their say, you can't take everything that someone who has had a tragedy in their life and lost a loved one to a specific thing. You can't take that and apply it across the board, because it doesn't apply to everyone. No more than someone who's lost a loved one to cancer like I have is going to have any kind of... You're going to be biased. If you put cancer funding in the hands of those who've lost loved ones to cancer, they would absolutely break the bank to do away with cancer. I know I would. That doesn't mean it's right for the entire country. So I think it's a little bit disingenuous to parade these people out. And now we've got Republicans bitching about Democrats taking pictures and video in the hallowed halls of Congress. They're rule breakers. Well, you guys are just... You just keep stepping in it, don't you? It's just sickening. It really is. No doubt in my mind, Americans want some common sense gun legislation. The problem is, we've got a bunch of people that have not an ounce of common sense. And they have no ability to work together. None. As evidenced in the last day and a half. And you've got a bunch of people offended that some NRA person, in talking about these pictures that were taken by Democrats in their sit-in, is calling them rule breakers, much like the criminals and terrorists who get guns. And now everyone's offended at that. I am offended that these people who are fighting for our rights and our safety are called terrorists. They were not called terrorists or criminals. So they're breaking the rules. The host of this NRA person who hosts some radio show was merely pointing out that sometimes rules don't matter. Sometimes rules don't prevent things from happening. That's all. But now the argument's shifted. And lines have been drawn. How do we get past this? How do we come together? How do we force our duly elected leaders to do the right thing? Get rid of them. Get rid of all of them. We have no average, I shouldn't say no, we have very few, if any, average Americans representing us in the House. That's the way it was intended. That's how it was supposed to be. People who have common sense, people who live in the real world, not the Beltway. Those are the people that are supposed to be in the House, representing each and every one of us out here. And that's not happening today. We've got a bunch of career politicians who are immune and insulated from reality, as evidenced by what I mentioned earlier. They don't know the difference. They don't understand. They've probably never fired a weapon in their lives. Yet these are the people that are making decisions that affect each and every one of us. These are the people that are in charge of our safety and our rights. I don't think you'd want me to just jump in a fire truck and come to your house, not knowing jack shit, would you? I don't think that you'd want me and, 6 of my fellow firemen to walk off the street and hop in a fire truck and come to your house to save your family's life. I don't think you'd like that, any more than you'd like police officers to respond to your 911 call who just walked off the street, put a uniform on, and said, "Hey, here I am."